Oh, hello, Tashidele, everyone. Welcome back to the Lojong session. So as usual, kindly bring yourself in the present moment. Simply try to gather your thoughts in one-pointed focus on awareness of having breathing. Simply focus on the natural state of breathing, just simply aware that I'm breathing. Then feel the presence of all the gurus and Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. And generate wholehearted respect, veneration. Then understand all the qualities of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and gurus, the altruistic qualities. Then one get inspired by them. Then inspired to follow their footsteps, which is to train on the path. Then here generate the correct motivation of altruism to fulfill all those purposes, and as well as to make one's life most meaningful in the service of numberless sentient beings, virtue, happiness, enlightenment. I'm going to engage into this very session of Lojong discourse, Dharma discourse, practice of purifications of negativities, accumulations of merits and wisdom. So may all this be complete cause of numberless sentient beings' enlightenment. Sanje Jodang Zoje Jonala Janju Badu Dani Jasunje Daji Jinso Jebe Zonamje Tola Benje Sanje Drubarai Jo Sanje Jodang Zoje Jonala Janju Badu Dani Jasunje Daji Jinso Jebe Zonamje Tola Benje Sanje Drubarai Jo Sanje Jodang Zoje Jonala Janju Badu Dani Jasunje Daji Jinso Jebe Zonamje Dola Benje Sanje Drubarai Jo for immeasurable thoughts. Semje damje dewa dan dewe judan demra juje semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga mebe dewa dan mi dawa juje semje damje nyere jadan nyidan dawe danyola nebra juroje semje damje dewa dan dewe judan demra juje semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan dawa Semje damje dunga mebe dawa dami dawa gyuje semje damje nyere jada nyidan dawe danyola nebra gyuro je semje damje dewa dan dewe gyudan dambra gyuje semje damje dunga dan dunga gye gyudan dawa semje damje dunga mebe dawa dami dawa gyuje semje damje nyere jada nyidan dawe danyola nebra gyuro je. Veneration to Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, the verses by Nagarjuna. And then salute veneration to our lineage gurus, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Kange doze ne zone dawa dam je ban bejere dam bejene denje ban godam de la cha se lo doni ni je zondo jo be lam se je kanje dende chana be mo denje ja zo la so wa de so da je chin je lo. Oh yeah, so so before we start the teaching, as I think many of you already know, that Venerable Raja got fall and got injury to his hips, and he's going through a treatment. So therefore, all of us come together here, dedicate this practice of medicine Buddha, mantra recitation and visualization of healing for Venerable Roger to get successful treatment and swift recovery and continue to fulfill all his Dharma aspirations, in particularly in the service of Gyaltsab Lama Sopa Rinpoche and the FPMD. And also we dedicate this practice to all the other individuals, especially those who requested prayers because of their health difficulties. There are relatives of students that who are in hospital, who are just on the recovery, and who just diagnosis with the different kind of sicknesses. May this recitations of the medicine Buddha mantra and the merit from it and the visualizations of the healing and dedications of the merit be most effective to overcome all those sicknesses and any form of other challenges in life, and actualize best of health, long life, and fulfill all the aspirations accordingly, and also dedicate for those who pass away, especially in last 49 days. So in the world, there are so many people dying due to war, due to natural disaster, due to diseases, Yeah, especially in last some time, you hear lots and lots of news about that. So, of course, we dedicate all our merits of the past, present, future, but in particularly, we dedicate this practice for them. Okay. And also dedicate to your good health, long life, and fulfill all your aspirations accordingly. Tuje gola nyombe jumdende zenzang tebe ngendo dungeze duzum neze sanje menje la bendo yaye wala chaze lo taya taum bekanze ma bekanze ranza samu gade so taya taum bekanze ma bekanze ranza samu gade so Tayada bekanze ma bekanze ranza samuga deso Tayada bekanze ma bekanze ranza samuga deso Tayada bekanze ma bekanze ranza samuga deso Tayada bekanze ma bekanze ranza samunga deso Dayada Om Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samogade So Dayada Om Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samogade So Dayada Om Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samogade So Dayada Om Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samogade So Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Dezo Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Dezo Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Dezo Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Dezo Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Dezo Dayata Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranda Samoga Deso Dayata Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranda Samoga Deso Dayata Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranda Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Aranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Randa Samoga Deso Dayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Beganze Ranza Samoga Dezo Jawade Nyudo Da Mebe Jabo Drubyo Ne Drowa Jeja Maleba Deye Salam Gobarai Jo Pama Zemje Tamje Dena Denjurje Ngendo Tamje Tatu Dongat Chanjo Zemba Kana Sujo Ba Deta Gwenje Malam Drubyo Je Semje Neba Jinyeba Nyudo Nele Tajoj Doye Nene Maleba Dado Jwa Me Barai Jo. Oh yeah, then also Kyabja Lama Sovereign Buche advised to do Tonglen practice, which is also the heart or the essence of practice of the entire Buddha Dharma, in particularly Mahayanic Dharma. Then, as far as concerned with the Lojong teaching, Lojong practice, then Tonglen is the heart, the essence of the practice. So here we take the opportunity to do Tonglen practice, dedicating to Venerable Rogers, sweep recovery, effective treatment, as well as to all those other who requested prayers and those who are unwell, and try to send the positive, healing energy collectively, but then that collective energy through individual, through you individual, to those of whom that you know, or those of whom that you are directly, connected or related to them, so that the healing practice or the Tonglen practice is going to be even more beneficial. Okay, so we take few moments to meditate or do Tonglen practice. So here, the one of the common the tool to practice is through using the flow of breathing. So you lengthy breathe out and breathe in. So when the breathing is going out, then you gather all the past, present, future virtues, merits, blessings, well wishes, good health, and all the goodness in the form of in the form, um, whatever is needed as an antidote, as a cure to each and individual's needs. Some in the form of medicine, those who need medicine. Some in the form of shelter, those who need shelter. Some in the form of friend who need friends. Some in the form of parent who need parent. Some in the form of children who need children. Some in the form of sun who need, light of sun. Some who, foods, then, in the form of foods, very much, turn into wish fulfilling um, needs to each and individual's need accordingly. Then when you breathe in, you can visualize, you understand those of the suffering of sentient being, starting targeted from Venerable Roger and those who asked to dedicate. If those obstacles are due to negative karma, then in the form of, black shoot, dark cloud, dark smoke, you gather into you through the tools of your breathing. So when you breathe in, then you visualize right at the center of your heart, there is again, dark, very stubborn, quite heavy sense, and the image of dark, smoke like that, which is the root cause of all the sufferings of yours, all the sufferings of others, the self-grasping attitude and self-cherishing attitude. Then ripen up on that. And those of the obstacles are due to the spirit harms. Yeah. If it's a spirit harm, then in the form of, poisonous, nasty scorpion. So, so you can visualize like that, or in the form of black sesame seed. You can visualize like that. Or then you gather into that, when you breathe in, they gather into that, self-cherishing, self-grasping attitude. It becomes like an atomic bomb, the moment that reach to this, the self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude, then instantly, without delay, even a moment, completely destroyed. The root cause of all the sufferings, all the problems, all the sicknesses. Then if the obstacles are due to um, uh, karisa, mm, yeah, so sicknesses, um, those who are directly experiencing um, in life uh, due to diseases, like could be any form of diseases. Mm, then those are in the form of blood, pus, mucus, like that. Then with the breathing, you draw them uh, and ripen upon that self-grasping attitude. Then right after that, you understand yourself, no question. Then your family members, no question. Then of course, the dedicated person who is sick, who is in trouble, and rest of the other sentient beings who are also suffering in samsara. Uh, you know, some are in the form of suffering of pain, some are in the form of suffering of change, some are in the form of pervasive compounded suffering. You know, complete control by karma and delusion, and suffer so much. So entire living, cyclic existing beings, completely, purified the root cause of all those suffering existence, and understand uh, that all of these beings actualize liberation from all the sickness, all the obstacles, mm, and actualize all the good qualities, such a good attitude like loving kindness, compassion, good, wise wisdom, so wisdom of selfless, wisdom of emptiness, then bring about all the cessations of the path all the way up to enlightenment. Also understand like that. So you meditate, okay, in your very best, uh, according to what I suggested, guided here, or the way that you usually do. So we take some moments to do that. Okay, start now. Okay, thank you. Then I just don't know to just you to it to that indication to go then. Then I just don't know to just you to it to that indication to go then. Then I just don't know to just you to it to that indication to go then. Pamasam Jetam did that thing using a return to want to some. When you malam to okay, thank you. Okay, so now we start the teaching. Yeah, we are going through the classical texts from the great collections of Lojong. And right now we are studying the chapter 24, the Mahayana mind training, eliminating future adversities. And last session we have we have done the preliminary practice for that, and today we go through the actual practice, which is on page 242. Oh yeah, so it says like this: the actual practice. The practice of Mahayana mind training has three methods of applying antidotes. Uh, the first one is conjuring what is not there. Second, vanquishing through direct encounters. And third, mocking the afflictions. Mm. So the first method is like a Mongol taming a tiger. First, he rehearse by learning the skill of taming a tiger, so that when he actually meet a tiger, he can subdue it. Uh, if he has not trained previously, he will be unable to tame it and may instead become its prey. Uh, Similarly, you should vividly conjure within yourself the powerful affliction, such as attachment, then imagining driving them away by not neglecting your thought, but uh, training mm, training them. Uh, the antidote will appear spontaneously whenever affliction arises, and because of this, you will not be overwhelmed by adverse condition. In other words, you will not fall under the power of the affliction at that time. If you fail to train in this manner, the antidote will not eliminate the adverse condition, and you will fall under the power affliction, the master said. Yeah, so there are a few points. Um, the uh, so here given the example of the Mongol taming a tiger, which is a very uh, powerful, but at the same time, yeah, powerful, and um, it is a common illustrations of this particular teaching. Uh, the getting trained, the purpose of learning Dharma, including a purpose of learning Dharma in whatever way, through retreats, through ordinations, taking vows, re, uh, or study, or meditation, or whatever way, we have to understand uh, that we are in the training, mm, uh, in the training, the skill of how to overcome the negation, how to overcome the adversities, um, how to overcome samsara, how to overcome the defilements. You see, so this particular meaning of Mongol taming a tiger, illustrated in the painting, into almost all the monasteries. At the entrance, usually you will see the drawing. There's one man, wearing like a Mongolian kind of dress, then wearing I think hat or something like that. Then chain the tiger, and subduing the tiger. So there's one drawing. Uh, you know. Some monasteries, you will see some description about that, but in many monasteries you don't see the description, but you most likely will see the drawing. So now here, so that is the uh, you know for people whoever enter into the temple, or enter into the 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 community or the institution, which usually is like a monastery, or the Dharma institutions. The individual should understand the purpose is to get well trained in the antidotes, and knowing of the negations. Then whenever the negations arises, effectively, timely able to antidote the antidotes, and able to eradicate completely, you see. Like that. Then also in Paramita Sutras, Wisdom Sutras, then in Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings, that you find there's a specific teaching. First, you have to identify the negation well. Then you get well knowledge of the antidotes. Then you get well training, training how to apply the antidote to the to the negations, while negations before before the actual arising of the negations. Train the antidotes, application of antidotes, before the delusion arises. You see. So this is very much what it means. What do you mean by uh, the Mongol taming tiger? First, rehearse by the learning the skill of taming the tiger. So if you are not rehearsed properly, then you know um instead of you able to tame the negations, you rather you will be it is prey. You see. So similarly, if you don't know well training of how to tame the tiger, you may be, if you go to if you go to tame the tiger, you most likely may be the prey of the tiger. You see. So therefore, so therefore, um, at first, as mentioned before, you have to study the characteristic of the different defilements, different delusions, different and different negativities, what exactly they are, how it look like, how they behave, what are the causes and conditions make them activate in our system. We have to know every single detail about that. So that's exactly what Lama Tsongkhapa says. The first, you have to, well identify the exact, the characteristic of the negation. You see. Mm, so therefore, uh, yes. Uh, so therefore, whenever we learn Dharma, you will realize, talk, majority of um, um, the teachings, very much talk about the characteristic of the delusions. Maybe more than discussion on the antidotes. Always talk about the characteristic of samsara. whenever you listen Dharma, whenever you listen teaching, when you study Lam Rim, when you study Lojong, very much you will hear, the elaborate description of the characteristic of samsara, characteristic of the delusions, characteristic of the karma, a characteristic of the suffering, characteristic of the samsaric different realms, existence, etc., etc. So that is very much, knowing the negation well. Like if you want to chase away if you want to catch, if you want to chase away the thief, first you need to catch the thief, isn't it? You need to make sure that identify correctly the thief so that you can able to negate the thief, isn't it? Uh, so that you can apply, rightly the way how to get rid of it, isn't it? So similar way, you see. Then the second, very much, the theme of the entire Dharma, entire teaching is uh, to learn about the characteristic or the definitions of the antidotes, like such as what really are what exactly is emptiness, learn about the definition of emptiness, what exactly means bodhicitta, what is the definition. Then what exactly mean patient, what exactly mean detachment, renunciation, etc., etc. You see, so all these are very much learning the antidote. Then we have to train, through meditation. You see, uh, before we we able to directly antidote to the negation and able to negate them. First, we need to train through meditation. So in order to train, through meditation, we need to have the correct object of meditation. That is a wisdom from contemplation. And in order to contemplate correctly on the Dharma, that we need to have the wisdom of learning, correct learning of the Dharma. So that is the Lam Rim, Lojong, all the teachings. You see, so so then, while training in the meditation, very much we visualize, and we do the meditation uh, when there's no arising of delusions, when there's no arising of the negations, you see, and through the visualization and through the reasoning of bringing up in your meditation of those characteristics of the negation, then they're applying the right antidote, knowing the exact characteristic of that antidote. Then in visualization, during the meditation, then you uh, you first know exactly what the negation that you want to eradicate during this meditation. Then apply the correct antidote. Then uh, in that continuum absorption of meditation, then first, you completely get rid of total idea of the total existence in your awareness of that negation, that which you just have acknowledged them before. Now in from your system, completely uh, out, and your system, your meditative mind is completely filled with the the characteristic of the definition, like such as like emptiness, wisdom. Your awareness, your mindfulness, your meditation. Now the second stage of that continuum of the meditation is completely filled with the heart of antidote. Then um, and on the third level, then just before when when you come to post meditation, then you actualize the cessation, through the visualization and meditation. You have this process. You see, it's very much like in the dark room. First, you go to the dark room and you want to bring light to that dark room, isn't it? So first you enter into the dark room. It's complete darkness, which is very much like knowing the clarity of the complete clarity of the negation. Then after that, then you on the light. The moment you on the light, from that room, the entire darkness is negated. The entire darkness is no more existent there, but not completely eradicated from the system. So therefore, the second step of meditation is for you to hold on to the that meditative equipoise, until you come to a point that from it is very root that completely negate the negation. It is very very much like you hold on to the light until the next morning the light comes. So when the next morning light comes, then even you get out of the switch of the light, even whether you on the light or off the light, it doesn't matter. The light will be always there. The darkness is completely negated from the root of that very night, isn't it? So similarly, uh, you know that continuum meditation that you need to meditate until you actualize the state of cessation. It's a state of cessation. You see, then after that, then you come to you come to meditative equipoise, out of the meditation, which is now, once the daylight is arrive, then no need to worry about the light. You just now move forward for your other activities. You see, uh, so similarly, then um, you move on to other practices, other activities, such as the post meditation activities. You see, so it's very much like training in the actual on the path. When you train through the 10 bhumis, each bhumi consists of three phases of um, journey of practice. The first, as you know do, first uh, during the post meditation, you know through your analytical wisdom, or through the knowledge, you understand exactly what is the negation. Then you designate that particular the negation to be negated, let's say on the first moment of the uh, you know during the path of seeing, the path of seeing. mm, the first moment of the path of seeing, first you you identify the negation. Then after that, you get into the yeah, very moment of the meditative equipoise, which is uh, the meditative equipoise, the path we call as a path free of obstacle, parjemelam. So by then, it's very much like, as I mentioned before, give an example, like the light is on, so it means the darkness, the dedicated negation is like completely no, what's it, um, the dedicated negation is non-existent in obvious level, you see, but not yet completely purified from its root. So then you continue to carry on the meditative equipoise, until to the last, very moment of the path of the seeing. Uh, 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 I'm just giving an example. Okay, so then um, um, the moment when you achieve the cessation part of the path of seeing, then by then you completely negated the negation from the root. Or then once you achieve that part of cessation, which is called the namdolam, then you go into jetop, which is the post meditation. It's a post meditation. So after training, right now, we are not entering into the path, and you know, eventually we will enter into the path in order to negate all the stages of defilement, isn't it? So we need to get trained now like that. And not only that, in our day-to-day life, there are obstacle of attachment, obstacle of suffering from all sort of delusions, all sort of problems in our life. So in order to effectively apply the Dharma antidote and able to, really, the antidote really works, bring effectiveness, we need to get trained in meditation when we are in a good time, when there's no arising of delusion, when there's no problem, when you are in a comfortable zone. There you need to train yourself, through meditation. Okay, so I think, like this, many people, many practitioners, uh, they are so good in their practice, in understanding when things are all good, but when the problem comes in their way, they completely get lost. And many express that, yeah, when before anger arises, I totally understand exactly what is the antidote, and what the anger is. But when the anger actually arises, Dharma completely go away, it's not helpful at all, and how come? And like that, so the answer to that is, you have not trained before uh, uh, the arising of that anger. During a good time, you have not trained, as I described lengthy before, just now. You see, you have not trained that way. That's why when the anger arises, the antidote doesn't work. You see, rather, rather you try to play with the anger, you get even more angry. It's like, you know, without training well, you start to go and tame the tiger. You become the prey. You become the first target of the prey. You see. So with the delusion, uh, when the delusion is already overwhelming, then some if we try to say, I want to take the delusion on the path, most likely will be fail. And when you fail that way, and you fail terribly, worse than just ordinarily arising, delusions. You see, when the delusion taking on the path, if you are not well trained before, uh, then in the name of the practice, then such as like taking attachment onto the path, in the name of the Dharma, in the name of the practice, commit, even heavier karma than just ordinarily, arising of attachment. Yeah, you see. So this is what it means. So before, one able to take the delusion on the path, like attachment on the path, anger on the path, all the other, adversity on the path, first we need to get well trained. So this particular first section is talking about that. So, so then at the last part of this paragraph, you see, mm, uh, so once you're well trained, then um, you know you will not fall under the power of the affliction at that time. Uh, mm, then also the antidote will appear spontaneously whenever affliction arises. You see, so that we need to train until like that. You see, so we Dharma practitioners have to come to a position that whenever affliction arises, the antidote timely arrives there spontaneously, because we are already so distracted and overwhelmed by the surrounding environment of where the delusions are caused. So if we need to use our mindfulness, it's very difficult to remember the antidote. So we need to well train before reaching to that environment, that until our system come to a position that the antidote, the Dharma arises spontaneously without any effort, without any motivation, without any reasoning. We have to train until like that. Okay, so this is a very very important point. You see, uh, all of us learn Dharma so much, uh, but we practice less. We don't practice enough. And even when we practice, sometimes we don't know how to practice. We don't know right time to practice. So the conclusion, as I mentioned at the beginning, the Dharma is all about negating, all the problems, all the afflictions, all karma, samsara. So therefore, in order to overcome that, then whenever we are in a good spirit, when we are in a comfortable zone, then we need to do more meditation. We need to, uh, in we need to train in a meditation of how to overcome attachment. Even though right that time no attachment at all. But we already learned what exactly attachment and what is exactly the direct antidote and a common antidote to attachment. So then through meditation, you go through the steps that I mentioned before. Then do the same thing with the anger, do the same thing with the ego pride, do the same thing with the laziness, do the same thing with the depression, do the same thing with all the other hallucinations, do the same thing with the self-grasping, do the same thing with the self-cherishing attitude. Then also do same thing to the negation, the suffering experiences of old age, suffering experiences of sickness, different form of sickness. Even though you don't have that kind of sicknesses now, then in through your visualization, when you do train in a meditation, then you visualize, as if like you are in that kind of sicknesses, and now you are try to overcome that sickness, the suffering from that sicknesses, the application of Dharma practice, like such as Tonglen practice, etc., etc. We have to train when we are in a good time, when we are not in pain, when we are not suffering those sicknesses. If in case if such sickness comes in our way, you're able to apply the Dharma effectively. First of all, by doing the meditation, it already purify the karma to experience, those kind of obstacles. You see, so like that. Then you learn about the 10 bhumis, 10 bhumis. So here comes the importance of study of extensive dharma, philosophical dharma. You see, uh, such as like 5 parts. What are the 5 parts? What are the 10 bhumis? It's so important to know. Then along the 10 bhumi, then there are the entire defilements, the obscuration to omniscience, obscuration to nirvana, all the delusions, divided into 9 levels, throughout the 10 bhumis, you see. So we need to know the portion. Okay, on the first level, the what kind of delusion is that? What strength? What is the characteristic? We have to learn exactly in the amount, so that that time then you can apply the antidote most effectively. On the second level, until to the 10 bhumis, the most subtle defilement, how it look like, what it is entirety of the strength and characteristic. You see, then at the same time, what is exactly the antidote? What amount of meditative equipoise, the concentration is needed. The meditative capabilities needed. All this we need to learn. You see, then you train now, even though you are not entering into the ground and the path, but you train now, through visualization. You see, so then next time when you reach to the actual path, then everything becomes spontaneous, like that. Okay. Yeah. So yes. So yes. So therefore, for our day-to-day obstacles, really to make Dharma is so effective to overcome them, then we need to get trained well before the trouble comes. You see, uh, otherwise, how much Dharma you know, how well you know about the world problem, you know, when the actual thing comes in your way, you know. Uh, you become handicapped. You won't be able to do anything. You will be completely get influenced by those troubles. You see. So then Dharma is almost like bye bye. Like that. You see. So therefore, uh, uh, no doubt that every one of us know a lot of Dharma methods. Even just from this Lojong teaching. Those of you who attended all the teachings, we completed up to page, 240 over pages. And within that, we completed so many different texts, so many different methods and tools to overcome, sufferings, delusions, etc. But then again, uh, throughout the journey, while studying the Dharma, uh, you know, we mess up our life many times. We arise attachment and anger, then environmental issues, family issues, and that disturb our heart, isn't it? And that time, the Lojong is almost like disappeared, and even you try to use it, it's like very, minor impact. There's no intense impact. You see why? Because we haven't meditated enough. You know, before the trouble came, we didn't practice enough. You see, you know a lot, but you didn't practice. You see, uh, and uh, and yeah, so that's the reason. So now we need to practice. We need to meditate more. We have to uh, bring intense habitual in our system, so that all this dharma becomes spontaneously arise whenever the trouble comes in our way. Then that dharma will effectively will handle those situations, so that you can be free from suffering. You see, like that. Even in the midst of the entire world collapse, you still can be protected by dharma. Yeah, you see, in our journey, even the life comes with uncurable diseases. Yes, physically degenerating. Physically, there's inconvenience, but then your mind will not suffer. Your mind will have a full of meaning, purposes, and your mind will be happy in peace. So then even the death comes in our way, which one day will come. Then uh, the death will come, but then we die with so much virtue, so much confidence, so much peacefulness. So entire rest of your life, even though by nature of the samsaric body, it become older and older, more and more sickness, and including of the death will comes in our way. But because of the dharma practice, while training, that you become happier and happier. You become more healthy and healthier person. Of your mind. Your system will be filled with the happiness, filled with the meaning. You see, so you can die. Sick. You know, you get sick with full of meaning. You die with full of meaning. So everything is fulfilling like that. You see. So this is so important. Okay, now the second method is vanquishing the affliction through direct encounter. Is this uh, avoid acting like an elderly couple uh, who are being robbed. Furthermore, when affliction arise, they do not start out forcefully. They arise subtly at the beginning, so the moment they arise, you need to avert them by challenging them, thinking, who are you? Uh, if you do this, you will not fall under their power. You will be able to overcome them through antidotes. If they are not averted at that point, their strength will increase, and it will then be difficult to overcome them with antidotes. As if striking a pig head with a stick, you should drive affliction away the moment they arises. So this is another important point. You see, the point here is that the moment you see the obstacles, afflictions, and immediately you should apply the antidote. You shouldn't delay until the afflictions, obstacles, come into fully matured. So and most of cases in our situation, like such as obstacle of attachment arises, then at the beginning, it's like kind of like it's minor. You don't really care much. you know and the moment it becomes so intense, then you try to apply the antidote, then it doesn't work. You see. Mhm. So similarly, anger, the moment you see the sign of anger, then you apply the antidote. Then you may be able to overcome. you try to apply the antidote after the anger is fully overwhelmed in your system, then it's not possible. You see, so the thing is, if you don't antidote as quick as possible, the strength of the delusions will get stronger and stronger by its nature, like that. It's similar like diseases. We have to overcome when you see even the sign, from early stage. You wait until to the last stage, then is even you have the best medicine, difficult to overcome, isn't it? So similar like that, you see. So uh, so another problem with many of us is that uh, you know we take for granted in the beginning. Whenever there's a small sign of negativities comes in our way, then we don't really intensify our dharma practices, you see. Only after overwhelmed with the negativities, then only we start to you know perform all sort of methods to overcome obstacle, like try to do puja, try to ask a blessing from lamas, then try to do retreat, and try to become sangha, and try to do all sort of thing. And the problem won't solve so easily. You see, you try to run away from the problem after the problem is already occupied entire your system fully. Then uh, the antidote side is so weak. So whichever area you run, it won't be so effective. You see, you will still get disturbed. So therefore, uh, you know, uh, whichever lifestyle one may have, uh, you know, uh, the one thing that is in it should be in common in the practice is, whenever you see any sign of the affliction, any sign of obstacle, right there, if you want to perform puja then. If you wish to, renounce the holy life and become sangha then. If you feel like doing retreat, then go and do retreat right then. If you want to do meditation and apply the antidote, quickly apply right then. So cannot wait even a moment like that, you see. Because even if you wait a moment, the strength will increase, like, so this is what it meant. Okay, the third method is that of mocking the affliction, means to ridicule falling under the affliction's power, thinking like this: Allahs, what kind of weakling are you? What point is there in such behavior? Thing like that about yourself. If you know, mock yourself like that. In this way, you should mock yourself. Furthermore, when the affliction arises, think like this: because you behave in this manner, you are wandering inside existence. Are you going to continue to behave like this? You ask yourself. Counter them and drive them away in this manner, the master says. You see. So this one is, uh, you know, always, um, yeah, kind of discipline yourself. You become like your very tough teacher. You become like your discipliner. Whenever there's a flaw that you see in you, then you mock yourself. As what the teaching says. How weak you, how can be so weak. How can be so lazy. How can be so distracted. How can you behave like this, even after you meet the Dharma, even after you meet the perfect Guru, even after you have a precious human rebirth, and you still don't practice properly and completely, then the samsara will never going to end. You will suffer more and more. So you sometimes have to kind of remind the flaws of yours when you fail to effectively practice, effectively apply the antidote whenever negation arises, like that. So even example, when the obstacle comes in our way, then we depress, isn't it? So then that time mock yourself. Then you say, wait, you know You learn so much Dharma, you learn so much Lojong, and you still, you're still depressed, and you're still, um, down. It's worse than those who don't practice Dharma. How possible? If you continue to behave like that, then the situation will get worse and worse. You see, so therefore, you should now. You are as a Lojong practitioner in this difficult time. You know, you have a strength, you have courage to overcome this obstacle. You have all the purposes to overcome this obstacle. You have all the methods to overcome all the obstacles, like bodhicitta, like emptiness. Use it. If you don't use now, then when you're going to use? Like you remind like that. You talk to yourself like that. You see. So whenever there's kind of hit by certain obstacle in life, then we kind of get lost, and that time we have to really like mock yourself, you see, and sometimes it can be helpful, you see. Sometimes when we are bit down, then they say, oh, take it easy, take it easy, how long you're going to be down, life is so impermanent, so who knows, you may just have just only this present moment, and this is just one present moment, you're going to stay depressed. No, you should be happy, you know like that. Yeah, sometimes I do like that. You see, sometimes you just like empty thinking, saying like that. Then you say, "Wake up!" Wake up. Is it? Yeah. Is it? How can you stay so down with just because of one bad news, or something went wrong or whatever? How can be you depressed is as if like entire, as if you're going to have 1,000 years to live, and you're okay to depress this very moment, this very day. So tomorrow onward, you're going to be happy like that, so foolish, So talk to yourself, your life is so impermanent, you may have just only one moment, this very moment. And, how wonderful to live happily this very moment, meaningfully this very moment, how can you live so depressed, like that, you see. And this obstacle, yes, the obstacle intense, but you cannot be completely succumb by this obstacle. The obstacle had a nature of impermanent. Yes, it looked like so intense now, but it will never remain like that intense. It will eventually it will go away, because it lies in the nature of impermanent, you see. So how can you behave like as if like rest of your life is completely ruined by this one obstacle? And say, cannot think like that. So we have to talk to ourselves like this, you see. uh, so it's very important, you see. So then, about being artistic, being compassionate, being in the service of other. And sometimes, how kind you try to be to other, how serviceable you try to be to other, and people don't understand you, people misunderstand you, people unappreciate you, instead of appreciating people, blame you, etc. All sort of things. Then you get kind of, you lose your courage. There's a danger of losing your compassion, losing your altruism. That time again you say, hey, wake up. You say, I know. You see, this precious human rebirth is, it could be just only one, this life, this time. And and meeting the entire dharma, like altruistic dharma, maybe it could be only this time, maybe not from future lifetime. You see, you have all the conducive conditions of perfect guru, that who teach, who guide with the altruistic, dharma correctly, and you have the wisdom, you have an interest also, yeah, you see, and you have this life with all the circumstances to practice that. And 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 there are out there sentient being, you know those difficult people are the one that are giving you all the opportunity. Next time you may not have such opportunity, to encounter such, to practice that way. So therefore, this moment can disappear in the blinks of your eye. So so don't give up, continue how hard it is. You rejoice, you feel grateful, you should continue to practice like that. So we have to talk to ourselves, encourage ourselves. This is also like what I mean by mock yourself. uh, uh, No, like this. So just make sure that make sure not to fall ourselves under the power of obstacle, power of affliction. Okay, this is very, very, very important, you see. And most of time, honestly speaking, we fail. We fall under the power of affliction. We fall under the power of problem, you see. And that time is dharma is like completely like lost like that, so this is really, really practical, extremely, extremely beneficial, and it is straightforward that you see these teachings from this Lojong. Sometimes many other teaching, in philosophy, in other teaching, you may not able to get such a straightforward, pit instructions, like this. So this is a really golden dharma. You have to hold, deep in your heart, and have to apply it. You see, as I mentioned before, knowing is not good enough. We need to train ourselves, until that our system in spontaneously behave, the right way, like this. Mm. Okay, now it says, so for the preliminary, one conjures what is not there. So the conjuring what is not there is very much like a preliminary. Uh, you see, uh, preliminary, one conjure what is not there. Okay, uh, so uh, so this one is very much you can understand in few different ways. One is, you know you have a faith and confidence, then you make an aspiration that all these obstacles definitely I'm going to eliminate. You have that firm conviction to move on to the next actual practice. uh, 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 One of the another way to interpret this is to understand the uh, the lack of intrinsic nature, lack of true existing or inherent existing nature of all this problem. These problems are just simply hallucination, misunderstanding. It's conditional one. It's not inherent one. You know, so therefore, if I apply antidote, definitely this problem is going to overcome. Going to overcome. So with that kind of you know aspiration, then you move on to the next actual practice. So this is what very much meaning. One conjures what is not there. Then for the actual practice, one vanquish the affliction through direct encounter. You see, so when the actual practice, then you eliminate the problem affliction through direct antidoting to them, application of direct antidote. You see, so if it's attachment, apply direct antidote or detachment. You see, if it, or the antidote of emptiness. You see, like that, and like an example like that. You see, so any other form of obstacle, uh, you know, uh, uh, you see, like diseases, you apply the direct antidote, interpreting in emptiness. Diseases, um, apply direct antidote of taking onto the path by bodhicitta, by the practice of Tonglen, like what we meditated earlier before, like that, you know. So, so very much for the affliction and obstacle, you apply the Dharma antidote, and if you know exact it is um, contrary direct antidote, you apply them. If not, at least apply the general antidote, which is any of the Dharma practices. Yeah, you see. So, then after that, then the conclusion. For the conclusion, one mock the affliction. The master says. Mm. Then, uh, if you are successful, then you acknowledge them, rejoice them, praise. You should tell yourself, "I did it. Well done, boy," like that. But then, if you fail to do that, then if you fail to succeed the actual practice, then at the end, then uh, if it is due to laziness, then you mock yourself. How can be you lazy? That you failed the earlier practice. If you're lazy now, you continue to suffer endlessly inside existence. You will never able to overcome all these obstacles like that. If it is from distraction, then similar way of understanding. Then you try to bring your mind to calmness. If you are lazy, then try to get more, get inspired. You see, or, or so whatever reason there may be, you have to acknowledge those limitations and encourage yourself and try to overcome those limitations. So then so very much, if it's successful, then rejoice and dedicate. If it is not successful of the actual practice, then don't lose the hope, don't discourage. Rather, you find every single means to get onto the next continuum of practice like that. So what is it mean like this? Okay, the essential point of the mind training are, the master says, the first is to hips together, then second is to generate, and the third is to purify. So now to heap together means, for example, contemplating during an illness. Heap together means like this. An example, during illness like this, there are unimaginable illness in the universe. May all of this befall me at this very moment, and may their continuum come to an end. So thing like this, Tonglen practice, thing like that. So befall onto me the self-grasping attitude, the self-cherishing attitude. Befall onto me that, is then in other words, you heap upon yourself the suffering of all sentient beings. You heap upon yourself all the suffering of sentient beings. Heap upon the self-grasping attitude and self-cherishing attitude, and bring about, the elimination of all the sufferings, and actualization of all the benefits. Like very much, the essence of Tonglen practice. This is Tonglen practice, like that. Then the second is to generate. Refer to visualizing the hollow light where you are, and imagining that this increases in size. This light increases in size, eventually allowing everything into emptiness. So you visualize the hollow light, and that hollow increases, and that bring about, that hollow is like kind of like create a hollow like this, it has energy of sucking everything like that. So then eventually, swallowing, entire sufferings, its causes of self and others, and bring into complete emptiness like that. So this is another visualization. This is what I mean by generate. Then you should then place your mind naturally poised in the state of master set. Then after that, after you do that visualization, then you bring your attitude of the mind into kind of settle, in the natural state of luminous, aware, luminous, but then in the sense of settledness, peacefulness. So this is the guide of meditation that you can do like that. Then the third one is the purifying. It referred to visualizing a white syllable ah, which progressively diminish and disappear, and becoming devoid of intrinsic existence. So this is another, the antidoting to purify. Visualize white syllable ah, then that syllable ah, gradually, progressively, diminish and disappear, and becoming void of the intrinsic existence. So you dissolve into the complete understanding of the emptiness, the lack of intrinsic existence. Then you should then place your mind naturally poised in this state, the master said. So the another way to understand this, to purify, is you visualize this, the syllable ah, which is the the representation of all the obstacles, all the sicknesses, and all the obstacles and its causes. you visualize that, then this syllable are, whatever amount of size that you have visualized. From there, some people may visualize as like mountain, if the obstacle is like mountain, or some is a small, whatever comes in your mind. But from that size, not increase, it decrease. It's rapidly decreasing and just vanish, completely disappear. You have visualized like that, and that disappearing is, disappearing the substance, uh, uh, all the obstacles, and that substance is devoid of intrinsic existence, like the syllable I itself, devoid of intrinsic existence. It just hallucinate, to the misconception you view as a problem, you view as a suffering, false. But it is ultimate nature. uh, the cessation and the negation is one nature of devoid of intrinsic existence, or one nature by emptiness, you see. So therefore then you bring, after that, then you bring your mind in the state of a natural poise, of empty, in empty of any kind of disturbances, even in one single atom or substance, then completely, uh, you know, in the sense of freedom, or cessation, bliss, thing like that. Okay. Okay, yes. So I think I will stop here. So please read through it a few times, and it's very easy to keep in mind, and at least those points, and try to apply into our day-to-day practice. Is so effective practice. So this way, then really, we as a Dharma student, Dharma practitioner, really become a mature Dharma practitioner, uh, mature Dharma student. We're really going to outstand, from those who don't practice. Especially in the difficult time, we become so composed, we become so calm, and so ease, even in the most difficult time. You see, uh, like that, and that you see from many of our gurus. Whenever they are in difficulties, like kind of aging, sickness, etc. Then you see them, how peaceful they are, and they become even more calm, more peaceful, more unaffected by the environment of, obstacles. You see, so we have to practice until like that, and it is, if we practice now, the benefit is, the effect is immediate. Yeah, you see, if you practice harder, train more, then you become more effective in application, overcoming all the difficulty in life, like that, you see. So then uh, life can be full of uh, inner joy, inner peace, like that. Okay, so thank you very much. So I stop here. Oh yeah, so we dedicate the merit that we accumulated from this session, and all the merit that accumulated in the past and will accumulate in the future. Also, the merit collected by all the gurus, sentient beings, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May this collective merit be a complete cause for numberless sentient beings to be free from all the sufferings of samsara, and it is caused a karma and delusion. Actualize, temporary happiness, all the way up to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be a complete cause. The diseases, the pandemic, war, natural disaster, and all the other obstacles in the world be pacified instantly without delay even a moment. May this collective merit be a complete cause. Venerable Roger and all the other who are going through health difficulties, to all the treatments be most effective, and swift recovery, and able to enjoy the life with full of virtue, all the way up to enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the people or any being who passed away in particular last 49 days, especially those of relatives, families of students, and then also those who pass away in natural disaster like floods, fire, etc., earthquake, etc., and those who pass away due to COVID. Then in the war, everyone free from suffering of death, suffering of intermediate state, suffering of rebirth, and actualize um, higher rebirth right within that very lifetime. They're able to actualize state of full enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be a complete cause. All the good people in this world, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, Kyojin Lama Sobramache, all your spiritual gurus, and all the good, peacemakers, may they live long life, good health, and fulfill all their aspirations accordingly. Or may this collective merit be a complete cause. All the religious institutions, monasteries, nunneries, all the Dharma centers, and all the, the APMD centers, starting from national office, Australia APMD national office, and all the participant centers for these Lojong teachings. May they be free from all the inner outer secret obstacles and actualize all the conducive conditions to preserve the Dharma, virtue, compassion, and Bodhisattva's deeds in action, everything, both in learning as well as in actualizing realization on the path and bringing impact to the society, to the being around them most effectively, extensively, vastly, like that. May this collective merit be a complete cause. May each and every one of us able to, practice the way how the Kadama masters, they have practiced, just like what the teaching says, so that our life going to be so meaningful, so peaceful, even in the difficult time, even in the journey of samsaric life, we able to live full of meaning, full of inner peace, full of preparation for higher rebirth and enlightenment in next lifetimes, including of getting fully prepared to actualize clear light onto the path. Hmm? Then we understand the dedicate ourselves, the merit and the purpose, all in the nature of emptiness, all in the nature of interdependent rising. Jawadi Nyoda Lama Sanje to June Dowachi Yamaluba de Sala Gobara Isho, Chachu Century Bojama Japanam Kiju Jawanya Bame by Gone Gondo Beba, Tony Dawa Bojama Japanam Jeju Javanya Bame by Gone Gondo Beba Jeremia Dawa Bojama Japanam Jeju Javanya Bame by Gone Gondo Pavara Isho. Pama Zemjadam Jadan and Yoje and Rodam Jadado Domata Joseph Bagana Zujaba de Dakunji Molan to Joseph Geneva Geneva Yodonella Tajo to Ven and Malib. Tado Joan Meber Jo Carrera Covision of the Pendant de Wamalijo and the Cheres and Jazo. Jabese de Bado Denjo, Tomzo Janji Jango Jave, the Zinjobe, Kozo, Chozo Element to Dazo de Jaguando Javde Show Chizalame Kuzer of the Nangatele Jojamano, Santebe to Mesazo. Dove Mazeta do Jejur Javakondo Yanda Lama, the Tamichi, Balalonji, Sadalamji, and thereafter Doje Chanji Gombanyo do Show. Jambe Power Jetakamano, Kudo somebody and the Dakuni Sudal. Java de Dadam Jarab Dungo, the Zunjebe Javadam Jedamo, Galachudong about the Taji Savadi. Sambo Chenjerab Dungo. Okay, Tuje Che, thank you very much. Please take care and see you.